Hi guys, and welcome to Discovering Dorset the Shay Way. Today we're doing part 2 of the Dorchester mini-series. Today's walk is Town Pump to Maumbury Rings, so let's get started. We start today's walk at the old Town Pump, where this obelisk marks. It was erected in 1784 and it stands on the site of the old ancient market house. We will head down our way towards Antelope Walk, which is just over here. You can see it marked by a big sign and also a lovely little statuette, if you will, of a golden antelope. It's a very pretty little walkway shopping arcade here. It's originally an 18th century coaching inn, and that's actually mentioned in Thomas Hardy's The Mayor of Casterbridge. It's also known that underneath some of these buildings here are the entranceways to some of the hidden tunnels underneath Dorchester. Halfway along Antelope Walk here is the Old Oak Room. It's reputed to be the room used by Judge Jeffreys for his infamous bloody assize of 312 rebels tried by Jeffreys in 1685 for supporting the Duke of Monmouth's attempt to seize the crown. 74 of which were executed and another 175 were transported to the Caribbean as slaves. As you come out of Antelope Walk, you want to cross the road and head up Princess Street towards the site of the old hospital. The old hospital has since been converted into flats for people to live in privately. However, you can still see this plaque up here, which I will take a picture of so you'll be able to pause and read a bit better. But it tells you what this wing was and who it commemorates. Very interesting bit of history. We now have a much more modern, up-to-date hospital a bit further down, over that way through town. As you come past Sport Arm here, there's a very nice shop. A little bit pricey, but very well made stuff in there. They do all sorts like guns, knives, clothing, all for the outdoors sort of life. But yeah, you'll want to come past and you'll come down here, still going up Princess Street, and you'll end up coming to the Borough Gardens. You'll find yourself greeted by these absolutely lovely gates. As you come into the Borough Gardens of Dorchester, you will notice that it is an absolute gem of greenery. Within the centre there is a sign that tells you about the garden restoration over the years. There is a lovely fountain which you can still see just down through the trees there. I will take you to see it in a minute. It also gives you some pictures of how it would have been back in the Victorian age. There's the bandstand surrounded by people with events. They still have the bandstand and there's plenty of events to this day. Both charity, music, they have car meets and all sorts. Classic car meets, and there's the walks just there, you can see pictured, which is just by the side of me going down there. There are public toilets here if you wish to use them. And in the summer months this opens up and you can get drinks and ice creams and the sort. Here's a lovely little monolith I'll show you. In memory of the non-commissioned officers and men of the 1st Battalion of the Dorset Regiment who were killed in action or died of wounds in the Indian North-West frontier, the Tira Campaign 1897 to 1898. If you wanted to do this walk for yourself and see a bit more of the history of it all, there is some lovely signs that tell you a lot about it just here. I won't go fully into it now though, but if you wanted to pause, you're welcome to, or if you wanted to come and do the walk for yourself, even better. As we come down and round here, as promised, here is the fountain. Absolutely beautiful, gorgeous fountain. Erected by Charles Hansford in the memory of Alderman George John Gregory JP, who was 5 times Mayor of Dorchester, who in his last year of office in AD 1895 purchased this land on behalf of the corporation by whom it was then governed, converted into pleasure gardens for the health and recreation of the inhabitants. Just over here you can see the old bandstand, absolutely beautifully restored back to its former glory. It stayed like this for as long as I can remember. They have repainted it a couple of times, but currently it's in a lovely red, green and bluey grey kind of colour. As I said, they do have events held here. We have music on here, they have car meets and stuff, there's tennis courts, there's actually old bowls over there that's now converted to tennis courts. It used to be the old bowls green. Well, this clock was actually presented to the Borough of Dorchester by the Charles Hansford, AD 1905, so the same chap who commissioned the fountain. And I assume that that's him there. Again, this has been repainted over the years, but always brought back to its beautiful original state of glory. Now as we go round and through, you'll find there's a couple different exits you can take to the Borough Gardens, and we'll be moving on to the market, where I will see you next. Come out of Borough Gardens, you'll have crossed over a junction and you'll see a sign saying Dorchester Market and Cafe. Now down here on Fairfield Road is the site of the old Wednesday Dorchester Market. Now, this market has been going since the 19th century. It's still extremely popular even to this day, with bus loads of people, or coach loads of people, who come from within the county and also other counties as well to come and visit on market day. There's an outdoor market which we can see here, some with sheltering, and then inside this large building here there is an indoor market. And just here on my left is actually where they used to have the auction ring and the farmers market, and in there is where you used to be able to go and see your cows, your pigs, your sheep, buy them and sell them. And just across over there is Duke's Auctioneer's house, and they've been going for quite some years as well. But yeah, well worth coming down and checking it out. It spreads all across here, all throughout there, all up and around there. As I said, there is a cafe. You also have burger vans and whatnot. There's local cheeses for sale. It goes all under there as well. You get local cheeses, flowers, all sorts, you name it, it's here. As you come out the other end of the market, you'll see that you found yourself within this large car park space. Now sometimes the market does actually spread out into this car parking area when there's enough of it as well, but we're going to be heading straight through towards Dorchester Skate Park, and just the other side of that is the Maumbury Rings. As you come up past the skate park, which is empty today, but you'll often see it filled with skaters of all ages enjoying themselves, you'll see the hills and the sign just up there telling you you're at Maumbury Rings. You'll want to go in through the Kissing Gate and you'll be presented straight away with loads of history on the site. If you want to know a bit more about the history of the site, I do go into some more detail on it in a previous video on my channel. Maumbury Rings was originally constructed as a Neolithic henge monument at least 4,500 years ago, probably by the inhabitants of Maiden Castle, which is another monument just out over that way. can't quite see it through the trees. It's just behind those houses over that way. The Romans made some major changes when they came, lowering the central area, as you can see here. And they also created banks and an amphitheatre capable of holding 10,000 or more people. There were more changes again during the Civil War, when the site was fortified with cannons. The site is still used today as it would have been intended, for ceremonies and festivals for the townsfolk of Dorchester. You want to retrace your steps back down these steps and then back through that gate, and you'll be taking a right to go down and past Dorchester Police Station. No longer an active police station. They do still have members of staff here, and they do still have cars. However, you're not able to walk in and report a crime. If you did want to go, you need to go and call up someone on that yellow phone. County Constabulary. You'll want to cross over at the junction, and you'll end up at Brewery Square, where there's a lovely little pub and kitchen called the Brew House and Kitchen. You can stop off for a bite to eat, something to drink, before you head into our next little site of interest, which is Brewery Square. At one point this was the site of the Eldridge Prope Brewery, which was a massive brewery founded in the late 1800s, around the time of the 1880s. It's now a bustling square, circular shape if you will, and they've got these fancy little lights that you might be able to see flashing. They also shoot out water, and it's a lovely little fountain where you can come and chill, relax, eat some food from some fashionable shops, buy some clothing from some fashionable clothes shops, and then there's also some apartments as well. You can see down here by Hop House, they're still building, so there's going to be more to come. Maybe more shops, maybe some more restaurants, a theatre perhaps. I believe this building behind us here was actually supposed to be being made into a theatre at some point. Whether that's still the plan or not, I'm not sure, but the works are still in progress. We're going to be retracing our steps now and heading back down towards the market area, then taking a right and heading back towards the centre of town, so we can find the cenotaph and the Victorian post box. This here is Dorchester Cenotaph. You'll notice the carved sword and laurel wreath at the top, and all the names on the bronze plaques. To the glory of God and in memory of those of Dorchester who in the Great War gave their lives for king and country. And they're listed here. We can go all the way around. And on the other side here, it tells us that this cenotaph was actually erected by public subscription and unveiled by the Right Honourable Lord Ellenborough C.B. on Empire Day in 1921. Just across from us here you can actually see the post box that I was talking to you about. This postboard dates all the way back to 1866 and was designed by Penfold. It's got a lovely VR you can see there. Make your way back down through the shops, back towards the town pump, and as we do we'll come across a couple of other interesting items, and I'll point those out to you as we go. Just opposite Hardy Arcade here, if you look up and to your left, you'll see the plaque at first level for William Barnes, the Dorset poet, who lived here between 1847 and 1862. Across from me here you can see the building known as Napper's Mite, This building was built originally as an almshouse by Sir Robert Napper, shortly after the Great Fire of 1613. This is also the oldest building in the whole of South Street. You can see it dated just up there, 1616. We carry on our walk to our final stop before we end up back at our starting point at the town pump. We're now looking for Barclays Bank. This branch of Barclays Bank was actually originally the Mayor of Casterbridge's house. It's quite interesting, and you can actually see just here a plaque that tells us this house is reputed to have been lived in by the Mayor of Casterbridge in Thomas Hardy's story of that name, written in 1885. Thank you all for joining me on today's adventure, our second stop on the Dorchester mini-series, with 2 more to come, and I might even extend it with some bonus footage if we can find some more history for you guys. So yeah, thanks again, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.